Howdy, my name is Larry. Almost a year ago, I recreated Candyland in Minecraft. And a few months after that, I recreated Clue in Minecraft. Today, I'm going to be recreating Pac-Man in Minecraft, but I'm doing it in survival this time. I just finished this island in my last episode, which was a while ago, and I apologize for the delay, but the reason there was such a delay between these two videos isn't just because that this is a really big project that I'm taking on in one video, is because of this guy right here. I went end busting. Not once, but actually 3 times, because I died the first 2 times, so I had to completely re-gear myself twice. And may or may not have slightly cheated on my 3rd attempt at end busting, but that's up for debate. I don't see any evidence. So let's just glide down here and I can show you my looty from end busting. Elytras are the best thing in the world. I love them so much. And here we have an ender chest full of all of our good old looties. I didn't get these. These are my shovels that I already had. But I got, look at this pick that I got. These I mostly just had. I'm super rich now. Got a bunch of pearls, 32 shulker shells, and 2 elytras. Now, the reason I went end busting specifically now before this project is because I am not just gonna make like a little square of Pac-Man, and I'm also not gonna make like the whole game board either. What I'm planning on doing is making like the face, like what you see in the actual game. I'll see if I can find a picture of it and put on screen. But this is kind of, if I do find a picture of it, this is kind of what I'm gonna be building. It's gonna be giant. Probably each like lane the ghost can go through is gonna be like 3 blocks tall or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how big it is going to be, but it is going to be huge. So I wanted an elytra, so I'm gonna turn this off Quake Pro. I turned it on Quake Pro so I'd have a wide, like a cinematic shot. It's too wide. So I wanted the I didn't just want the elytra for the flying up and down to it. I also wanted the shulker boxes because I'm going to need a lot of concrete, and that's what I'm going to be building out of. So I'm going to need a lot of concrete, and I'm going to need a lot of dye and a lot of gravel and sand and all that. So having shulker boxes is just going to be make that so much easier. So, without further ado, I don't have any wood. That's awkward. Let me just look through my extraordinarily sorted chests. I have 7 wood. Before I go through and collect all of my stuff for the Pac-Man, I actually need to make a creeper farm and a automatic sugarcane farm because I have 7 firework rockets to my name. So this is not going to last me very long. So I want to make a creeper farm somewhere over that ocean so I can have an infinite supply of rockets. And then that will make my life way easier, and then we can actually get into the building of the Pac-Man. So let me just run through and collect some resources. Maybe show a little montage of me collecting resources. Taming 50 cats. I don't know how many you need, but it's probably going to be a lot. And then we can get to work, build the 2 farms, and then we can actually start building Pac-Man. The creeper farm is finally completed, and it took about 2.5 hours, but this thing was so worth it. So worth it. I have about 4.5 stacks of gunpowder as well as about 20 stacks of fireworks, and it's only in like, I don't know, 2 hours of AFKing at the most. So that is wonderful. Now, I was going to make a sugarcane farm in this video as well, so I could have the full infinite rockets trick this video, but I'm gonna have to save that until another day because it is time to construct Pac-Man. In order to build this, I'm going to have to make it very large. It's going to be very, very big. So I'm going to need a lot of blocks, mostly glass and concrete. So I'm going to need a lot of sand, and a lot of gravel. However, I have already gone ahead and collected some sand, just like this. And now, I'm going to demonstrate a new feature that I have unlocked, Replay Mod. It allows for more cinematic shots and better time lapses, and I'm hoping it'll improve the overall quality of my videos overall, and it'll just make my videos more fun to watch, less in the time lapses, if you know what I'm saying. So here is hopefully a good old time lapse of me mining this sand. Now that we have some sand and plenty of it, or, well, nah, probably not. But now that we have some sand, it's time to look for some gravel. So I'm going to fly off. Actually, probably I won't fly. I'll probably start in the caves and just mine a whole bunch of gravel. Gravel's a lot more of a pain to get in large quantities than sand is, because, oh, there's a gravel right up there. Anyways, I already passed it. Because it's a lot harder to find large quantities of it. There's sometimes you can find biomes that are just like gravel and they're big and stuff like that. But if you don't, you're kind of just gonna have to rock with just like the little patches you find underground. So that's what I'm going to look for right now. I might give up. I have immediately given up and am going to just fly around and see if I can find big patches of gravel. It's the sound effects. Ladies and gentlemen, that was terrible. It actually wasn't all that bad. It was just very time consuming. But I have managed to, during the Christmas break actually, while I wasn't posting any videos, really work hard and a lot on this world. So I was able to get about 4 and a bit shulker boxes of gravel. And the rest of these are all full of sand. That is a lot of sand. And hopefully it's going to be enough. I don't even know if this is going to be enough sand. As crazy as this amount of sand is, I don't know if that's going to be enough. It is going to be like, Pac-Man is going to be like 90 blocks by 80 some blocks. I don't remember exactly the dimensions, but it's going to be very large. Okay? Big, very large. Anyways, that right there is, it's not, I would call it a super smelter, but it's not really a super smelter, it's just an automatic smelter. And I think that's 11 furnaces, and I can hook that up to put a bunch of glass in there and wait for it to smelt. But before I do that, I actually did 2 other things besides collect gravel and collect sand. Those 2 things are both farms. The first one is a flower farm right over here for blue dye. And I have a decent amount of flowers. It doesn't look like a lot, but this will probably be enough. This will probably be enough. If not, I can just run it a little bit more and it shouldn't be a problem. Then, the next farm is a little bit bigger than the previous one. You may notice that half the river is gone. Okay? I actually went to like 3 ocean monuments and found exactly one sponge room. So I only had like half a stack of sponges. So it was a little bit tedious, but it wasn't actually all that bad to collect enough gravel, or not enough gravel. It wasn't all that bad to drain that much water. It's not all that much, but that is a squid farm. If you hadn't guessed that, if you've never seen it before, this is a squid farm. This is an up close and personal view of it. Each one of these is a water source here and nowhere else. So the water, you can see, is flowing down in each one of these, and there's fences at the bottom so they don't flood the place. And the magma blocks all the way down, that's what kills the squid. So the squid spawn in these flowing water. The river was to make it so I drain the river. I didn't have to drain the river. It just makes it a lot more efficient because it takes away from anywhere else they can spawn except for here when I'm in that place up in the sky. So if you come down here to the collection system, you can see that there is a minecart that goes underneath the magma blocks. It has a hopper in the minecart, and that's what picks up the ink sacks. And as you can see from this, I have plenty of ink sacks. Let's grab some of this, and we can go back to our flower farm, pick up some blue flowers, and then we can just wait for 40 days and 40 nights. Well, 122 stacks of glass. That's about 15,000 if I did my math correct. That's gonna be a long time. So I'm just gonna be sitting here, crafting, waiting, and waiting and crafting and stuff. So when I finish this, I will be back to say I finished, and probably start building it, because there's nothing else for me to do. I finished! After about an hour or so of smelting down sand into glass, I have about everything I need, I believe. I have some blue concrete powder. I have the colored concrete powder for Pac-Man and the Ghost, as well as the dots. And I have very, very large proportions of both glass and black concrete powder, as those are going to be on the front and the back of the whole base, so it encloses it. I also need to get a bunch of torches, but I should only need about probably about 4 or 5 stacks of torches, and that's not going to be all that difficult, and I can probably just scrounge them around. But these are the main blocks that I need to collect. This took a long time to collect all these blocks, but it wasn't actually that bad. I think it's build it, so I think we should go ahead. I don't know, I guess we just build it now. I've been collecting resources for this so long, it feels weird for me to like say build it. But yeah, let's just start building it. And from this point on, this is probably going to be one very long time lapse. I don't think I'll cut in, even if I run out of blocks and have to get more. I'll just probably show one great big long time lapse. But don't worry, it's not going to be the epileptic one. It's going to be with replay mod again. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the construction of possibly your favorite childhood video game, or just a classic. I'll see you guys on the other side, where we can revel at the superb and stupendously large thing I have made that adds absolutely nothing useful to this world. But hey, it's the thought that counts. No, that thought doesn't, there's no thought behind it. I just wanted to make it. There's no reason for him to do this. I'm not regretting this at all. it's finished. I don't know what else to say. It's completed. I finished the whole thing. It is quite large, and boy, did it take a very long time. In fact, it took so long that I started this project. I went end busting and got my elytra for this project around, I believe it was November-ish, that I finally got the elytra, and that was the third time I had gone end busting. Because the first 2 times I died in the void. So I had to completely re-gear except for a handful of my tools that I didn't bring with me. And then I had to go end busting again, only to die again and have to go re-gear myself again. Now, I can't say that it was a joyful experience. In fact, one might even say I rage quit for a couple of months. I prefer to say I decided to focus on other videos for that couple months. But there's also an argument that you could say I rage quit. Finally, in November, I do it. I get my elytra, I get the shulker boxes. Then in around December, it was a Christmas break where I did most of my resource collecting. But before that, I did make the creeper farm. And then after I made the creeper farm, I went resource collecting. That took like the whole 2 weeks around Christmas. And then after that, I had to wait a little bit while I was making other videos. I couldn't really focus on it that much because of the videos I was making. So I decided to slow down and make easier videos for a couple weeks so I could actually get this built and so I could get this video out. And that is why the last couple of videos have been really simple. I did a couple arena drafts, and those were so I could get the video recorded in one day, and then for the rest of the week just work on building this giant monstrosity. It probably took about 5 hours to build this thing completely. 5 or 6 hours to build it. It took probably close to a dozen, maybe even 2 dozen hours to collect all the resources, because I had to collect about 20,000 odd blocks, and I had to make a couple farms. One was a squid farm, and for the squid farm, that took a couple hours in and of itself, but before I could even make it, I had to go raid a couple ocean monuments so I could get the sponges so I could dry out the ocean surrounding the squid farm, and that just took a couple hours by itself. So really everything I did in this video is a very lengthy process. This thing, it really doesn't seem like it would have taken that long to make, but it is 95 blocks tall and 85 blocks wide. So I guess it does kind of make sense why it took this so long for me to build it, especially because I had to juggle this with other video projects that I was working on and my own laziness. So it really was a struggle to get this through, but we did it. We finally finished it. It is completed. And now all I have left to say is please, please, for the love of God, subscribe and give this video a like if you enjoyed it, because this took so long. This is the biggest project I've ever this is the biggest project I've ever done in Minecraft. It's not close at all. Now, enough rambling on about how long this took and poor Larry for having to go through this. I need to shut my yapper and close the video out because this has been taking quite a while. So it's gonna be a long video, so I'm out of time. Anyways, I will try my hardest to beat my own laziness and get the next video in this world out a lot sooner than I got this video out, because it's been several months. It's been probably 5 or 6 months since my last video in this world, and I do apologize for that. I will try to do a lot better next time. With that, I've been yammering on so long that I I'm growing a beard. Simply, I've grown a beard since I've sat down to do this outro. So I better shut my yapper and just say bye. So I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.